Good morning, it's Cail. Today I want to do a little video about A Course in Miracles. It is part of my spiritual path and has been since probably when I was in my 30s. So it's just casual introduction. My dogs are currently sleeping. It's early here. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet, so I figured this was a good time to do this. And then, of course, in the background, I've got some lo-fi girl piano music playing, and I've got my little fountain behind me. So what I've got up on the screen is what is A Course in Miracles. My feeling is that not a whole lot of people have heard of it. It's rather kind of like down a little esoteric spiritual path or whatever. But I found that it helped me become a better person. Not perfect, not perfect, but it helped heal my depression in a really, really super big way. And it's kind of hard to explain, but it definitely did. So, A Course in Miracles is a book. I have the original version from the Foundation for Inner Peace. It's the blue hardback version of the book. Now, I also go to a website called A Circle of Atonement, which is the website that we're on here. And they came out with a new version that incorporates Helen Schuckman's notes. She's the scribe of this book, and so it's a big book. Brown. It's got a brown cover. This one's paperback. It's got kind of like the paper's kind of thin, like a Bible, kind of. I don't know what you call it, vellum, kind of like that. And I've got like I put little tabs on it for the different chapters in the text. But it's hefty, it's heavy. There's a lot in here. So this is by no means any kind of like professional, like I'm like a PhD in the course, okay? Because I'm far from it. I don't think that anybody here is actually like a total, scholar on it, but there are a lot of people that do know it very well that can help you learn it, and that's why I use the Circle of Atonement website. So put the book aside. Let's go over exactly what is A Course in Miracles, and people refer to it as the Course or ACIM. So you'll see me, write about it or talk about it occasionally on X or whatever, put a quote or whatever. And on my website, I have a little section that I'm starting to put my stuff that I had on my old website back up on the main website. So anyhow, I did make the text as big as I could and still keep that section within there so we can see what's going on. So what is A Course in Miracles? Now, this is probably going to blow your mind, or you're going to be, this is just woo-woo stuff, or this is just BS, but you have to be open-minded and give it a chance. So, I don't want to do that. So basically what it is it's kind of like a spiritual development path, okay? And it's kind of like a course, like you take in school, so that's why it's called a course. It has 3 sections that are considered the core of the course. So you've got the text, which is at the beginning, and then in the middle is the workbook for students. I clicked on that link. And then at the end is the manual for teachers. So that's if you get to that point of understanding or whatever, or you get called to it to become a teacher of the course. And so it's really weird that I'm doing this on my website, but I've been like being called over and over again, like in the back of my mind there's this thing, it's like talk about the course, and I always keep kind of putting it off, or saying nobody's interested, nobody cares what I think about it, I don't know it well enough, what can I say about it that other people say better, those sorts of thoughts. So I've never really actually done it, but I'm going to do it now. So, I don't know. The power of God compels you. So, yeah, we're going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. Okay, so it says here the aim of the course is to re-educate your basic perception of reality, and then you teach that learning to other people, that new perception, and it will help you be more happy, content. Happiness is, to me is more of an immediate moment thing, but I would say give contentment and peace, because it does give you a certain inner peace. And I know I didn't have it before. Obviously, I was depressed, so I was not, at peace within myself. But the course really helped me to find that and to keep it for the most part over these years. I'm getting better and better at it. Trying. But, Twitter tests that a lot. So, the course was written by, Jesus, basically. And, so it says no human author in the conventional sense. So Helen Schuckman, she died in 1981, is the scribe. Okay. So she was a psychologist. They were working at Columbia University. And in 1965, they were arguing with each other and this, that, and the other, getting on each other's nerves and so forth. And finally, he just said to her, Bill said to her, there's got to be another way. And I've said that before numerous times. When you think about the state of the world, you're like, we've got to do this another way. There's got to be another way that we can get along here and stop hurting each other. That's what, cooperate, not compete, just stop hurting each other. And she was like, well, okay, let's look what we can find out. And of course, normally they would be like arguing with each other, and she would be like, no, there's not another way, like that kind of contention stuff. So apparently she was a self-professed militant atheist, which is an interesting combo of terms. But she started having like these visions and these dreams and kind of like what you would call psychic experiences. And then she heard that voice, which is the voice of Jesus, and said to her, this is A Course in Miracles, please take notes. And so she was going to write down what this voice said. And so that's how she became like the scribe, or channel of these words that became A Course in Miracles. So she did that for 7 years. This version has her notes. Like you can see like some examples of her actual handwriting. It's very interesting. And she would dictate what she was hearing, what she was receiving to Bill, and he would type it up. She didn't always want to do this, so you can see there it says she resisted taking the dictation, and she argued with it, because she was a militant atheist. If you're an atheist, you're not going to believe that Jesus is talking to you and telling you to write down these notes. Most people would just say you're crazy, and that's BS, and that's, just making it up in your head. And those words that are in the book are actually your words. But there's no way, once you explore the Course, that those words were written by any human being. Let's just put it that way. And that voice was patient with her. He's like, she's a human being. We're all going to be, contentious about changing our mind about our beliefs. We want to stay in our little, funnel. This is what we believe. This is what we think. This is what we are. And the Course challenges all of that in super mega ways that just literally blow your mind. And not force you to think differently, but lead you to thinking differently and feeling differently. It's pretty intense. So the Course was published in 1976, and other readers of it also had their mind blown. became students, because it just has that effect on you. I will say there were times I wanted to throw the book up against the wall. There were many times I just stopped reading it. I didn't study it. I didn't do the workbook. I didn't read the text. I just kind of put it to the side, and it's like, I can't handle this. Which the book also mentions may happen, right? Because, we are the way we are until we change. So, it's sold nearly 3 million copies so far, apparently. 3 million, I don't know when this was written, so it might be more. And it's basically, a spiritual classic. So, in the course, so it says here how to study A Course in Miracles. So basically he's going to talk about the first, main core sections of it. And that's what I'm going to keep this first kind of introduction video, just kind of like the basics. And then, down the road, I'll try and do some other ones. I'll try. So basically, it's an educational program. I kind of call it like spiritual psychotherapy. And what it wants you to do is internalize its thought system. Like, it wants you to change your mind. And what is your mind? What is your ego? What are you? Who are you? What is your perception of the world? Like, how do you see the world? Are you aware, mindfulness, like things like that. And much more. That little description right there, those words I just said, is just way more than that. So they come in 3 sections. So the first section is called Volume 1. It's the text. So it's the longest section, and it's basically just straight writing. It's not like short little bits. Like the workbook will do like the lesson and then the explanation of the lesson, but the text is just straight, just writing. And yeah, it's right. There are hundreds of topics in there. And then what you start understanding is that what you think you know is not what you know, right? It's not really real. It's not really how things are. You're not the way that you think you are. At your core, you're like much greater and grander than you think you are. So there's familiar terms, but there's new meanings. It's not an easy read. That sentence right there, the text is not an easy read, is so true. You can read a sentence and you have no idea what that means, what that sentence means. You're literally like, I have no idea what I just read. And I'm an intelligent person. I won't say, I went to college, because college doesn't necessarily mean that you're an intelligent person, as we all know. So, but you can read a sentence, a paragraph, and you have no idea what's going on. Or even, you read it 10 times and you're still like, well, I kind of get a little bit of it, but I don't get the whole thing, right? So it does take time, and that's why I've been reading it on and off since I was in my 30s, and now I'm in my 60s. So you can see it's a long-term process. So read it slowly and carefully, thinking about what they mean, the words in the book. Take them personally. You need to make it personal. It's not about you going around changing other people on purpose. That's not really what the course is about. As you change, the people around you will change, right? So as you're more content and peaceful, the goal is that other people around you will be more content and peaceful. Like that's like, this is the I guess the woo-woo stuff that people may not agree with, but it's the ambiance and the vibes that you give out. They go out into the world, and they're going to help make the world a better place. So, right, it's not, and it says there, and treat them as practical as more than an intellectual game, right? So it's not just about you're like writing a dissertation on, your life. You're going to incorporate the concepts of the course into your everyday life. And your worldview starts being dismantled, and you get a new worldview, and it's much more peaceful. You don't take everything so serious because you know that the things that are here don't matter. What matters is you and God. That's basically it. So that's the first phase. And yes, this book is about God and Jesus. It's spiritual. It's not, like this is how you fill a pen with ink. It's a spiritual course. It's not necessarily teaching you how to be like more spiritual, like you're going to end up being a saint when you're done studying the course, but hopefully you'll be a better person, right? And we can all be better people. I mean, even today, I'm always trying to be a better person. At least I'm trying. There's a lot of people around that don't even think about what kind of person they are. They don't try. They don't try to get better. So, or be better. So then you have the workbook, which is volume 2. There are 365 lessons. There's one for each day of the year. So there's some review lessons throughout, like you kind of review a section of the lessons. But it takes a course idea and you practice it in specific ways throughout the day, and it tells you how to do it. And we'll go over that. And then you apply it to yourself, you apply it to other people, you apply it to the world, to things that you're going through in your life. And you start like just kind of changing. It's not a forced thing. It just happens. Because once you get these concepts in your mind, you just can't be the same. You're just a different person. I do find that it does isolate me a lot. In a strange way, but also I'm retired and I'm not going out to work, but it just made me a different person. I just started seeing things differently. Now I do forget that I see things differently, and I kind of backslide into old behavior, but it's aware that we will do that, so at least there's that. It's like, it's okay, we know you're gonna backslide. So you learn to enfold each day in peace, so you begin the day in a state of peace. A lot of it's about just being peaceful, which of course when you're depressed, you're not. You've got like chaos roiling around inside of you and in your mind and in your soul and in your heart. You're like, I'm depressed, I hate the world, I hate myself. So this gives you that peace where that's all gone. Like all of that chaos is just gone, right? Because you can't be at peace while there's chaos. And then how to renew that peace throughout the day if something happens that you feel is upsetting, how to get back to that inner peace, recover when your peace is shaken, and end the day resting in the same peace. So a lot of it is just about spending your day in peace so that you can get through your day without freaking out, being angry, having high blood pressure. So there's a variety of different practices. There's different methods of meditation and prayer. And you're not, necessarily like praying for something that you want. Prayer is gratitude and thankfulness. So basically the workbook is the training program for what you're learning in the text. Okay. It's designed as a 1-year program, but really, for myself, I didn't get through all of the lessons in 1 year because I would get not upset but frustrated because I couldn't understand some of the concepts, and so I would put the book away and not do the lessons, and then I would get back to it and pick it up where I had left off. Sometimes I would start over again and start at the beginning. So and then I had to like stop being mad at myself for doing that. It's like, just accept it. This is the way that the course is unfolding for me. Just chill out. So practicing the workbook is part actually of the workbook. Then in volume 3 is the manual for teachers. It can be read by any student. Like, you can read it. There's no rule like you can't read it. And it's written for those who have completed the text and workbook. And then you're going to extend the course's thought system to other people. You become a teacher of the course. And then you're like a teacher of pupils. So you're kind of like a mentor, right? Kind of like tell people what the course is. I guess what I'm what I'm doing here, right? And just kind of, experiencing the course with other students. And you're basically like healing not only the other person, but you're healing yourself as well. And shining the healing power of forgiveness, which the course talks a lot about forgiveness, and then extending to other people. And it's usually just giving love. Just little things like bringing somebody a cup of coffee, but you do it with love in your heart. It makes it like a really powerful thing to do. Sounds weird, but that's the way it works. And then extension is the third and final phase in the course's program, and you take the thought system that you study in the text and you practice in the workbook, because the workbook is about practice. And you extend it to others in the form of expressions of love. And those are the miracles. Because, miracles are love in practice. Like, it's love actually happening. It's not like the concept of love. It's love in action. And of course it helps make you a better person, because when you give to other people and you do it out of love, you're a better person and you feel better about yourself and you're not suffering from depression, right? So as the course says, everything you teach, you are learning, right? So as you're teaching other people about the course and being loving and learning about the ego and perception and the world and forgiveness and sin and all of these kind of concepts, you're also still learning them. So you're teaching and learning at the same time, which is really cool. And it says teach only love and learn that love is yours and you are love. And that's what it ultimately boils down to, right? It says through our extension, the course's thought system receives its final reinforcement in us, so that it at last commands our total belief. The new world of meaning that we first encountered in the text has now become the only meaning, right? So you come to accept the teachings of the course, not the book. They don't want you to take the course and look at it as if it's a Bible, like a spiritual Bible. It's a guide. It's not the end goal. So as you evolve with it, you're going to end up seeing that what it's teaching you is what is the truth. Okay? So that's the main core of what A Course in Miracles is. It's obviously way more in depth and so on and so forth. The Circle of Atonement website is it's got study groups. There's articles. Here's some prayer requests, healing services, a glossary to kind of help you learn the way that the words have changed their meaning. I don't know if it actually has the full course. This is the companion on there. Let me see. These are commentaries, right? So Alan and Robert, they do commentaries on the course. But let me see here. Right, and they have a couple of books. I have both of their books there. Let me close that. Now, if you go to if you see it down here in the corner, it says Foundation for Inner Peace. If you go to their website, it's acim.org. They have the original version, the blue book, online that you can go study. And there are apps for A Course, so you can have it with you on your phone throughout the day. There's the text, the workbook, and the manual. I'll show you what one of the workbook lessons looks like I won't get into it in depth, but show you what it looks like. Then there's another small little book called Psychotherapy, and another small little book called A Song of Prayer. And you can just, read about it. The preface was written in 1977, and that's like the brief introduction of ACIM. So how it came, what it is, and what it says. And here's like the beginning. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And that right there at the beginning is just right there enough to blow your mind. You're like, what? Wait, what? And then your mind starts going, well, what does real mean? Right? What does unreal mean? Right? So basically, it's like, okay, if I'm real, I can't be threatened. I can't be harmed. Not in my true being, right? And nothing unreal exists. It wouldn't happen anyway. That's what makes it so peaceful. That's what God gives you, that peace. Blow your mind. So you can get like more information here. So it's kind of like the real and unreal, knowledge and perception. Knowledge is truth, and truth is unalterable, eternal, and unambiguous. It can be unrecognized, but it can't be changed. Like, you can't change the truth. So let's say like a truth is 2 + 2 = 4. It will always be 4. It doesn't matter how many times you want it to be 5 or 1 or 10. It's always going to be 4. So this kind of truth in the Course is just God's truth, right? You can't change God's truth. We don't have authority over God to change his truth. We're his children. We're not God. You know what I mean? So it applies to everything that God created, and only what he created is real. Okay? It's beyond learning because it is beyond time and process. It has no opposite, no beginning, and no end. It merely is. Right? So right there you're like, wait, what? The world of perception, on the other hand, is the world of time, of change, of beginnings and endings. It's based on interpretation, like our interpretations, not on facts. It's the world of birth and death, founded on the belief in scarcity, laws, separation, and death. It's learned rather than given, selective in its perceptual emphases, unstable in its functioning. Oh, Lord, is it unstable? Our perceptions are so unstable. And inaccurate in its interpretations. So, right, so you can show somebody a scene, and 10 different people will come up with 10 different explanations for that scene, right? So then this knowledge and perception thing going on here, you move into 2 distinct thought systems, which are opposite in every respect. So in the realm of knowledge, no thoughts exist apart from God, because God and his creation, us, share one will. Oh, truck went by with a trailer. The world of perception, however, is made by the belief in opposites and separate wills in perpetual conflict with each other and with God. What perception sees and hears appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceiver. So you see what you only see what you want to see. And because you're stuck in that, you don't see the truth. Because you're so busy just seeing what you want to see. This leads to a world of illusions, a world which needs constant defense, precisely because it's not real. So anyway, so that just blows my mind. And sin is defined as lack of love. So yeah, so there's like lots of topics. I could go into this like for a long time. Sin is not like being a bad person. It's just lack of love. Not being loving. So that's the preface. There's the text. I'll show you what the text looks like. Here's chapter 1, the meaning of miracles. Here's the principles of miracles. And it's text. All of this. The illusions of the ego, the holy instant. the attainment of peace, how to be peaceful, the war against yourself. I think that one of the things I came to realize when I got over my depression was that I had been my own worst enemy. Really, I was at war with myself. It was really dumb. But that's the way it was. Trying to convince myself that I was something that I wasn't, because I'm a holy daughter of God, so how could I be those other things? So yeah, so that's the text. Lots of text, lots of words, lots of good words. Okay, so then let's go over to, I wanted to show you one of the lessons. So it's got like an introduction, and then like I told you earlier, it's got like these review sections where you could review the previous lessons. And all of these are workbook lessons. See, it goes up to 365. So what is the ego? What is the body? What is sin? What is forgiveness? What is the world? Here's 1 through 50. These are all the lessons. And you do one a day. Try and do one a day. Practice it. Try and understand it. So like lesson 1 right there at the beginning is like, nothing I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place means anything. Now, what a way to start, right? And you might have a little bit of an idea of what's going on here if you've been reading the text previously. But if you kind of just read only a little bit of the text and then you jump to this, you're going to be like, what does this mean? This is just bunk, right? Because I can see things that mean something. That tree means it's a tree, right? So, like, what are you trying to get at? What are you trying to tell me here? This table doesn't mean anything. It says look slowly around you and practice it, applying it to things that you see. Don't be discriminating, just anything, all of it. Then look a little bit further away and do the same thing. And make no allowance for differences in the kinds of things to which they are applied, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to interpret based on our own perception. We want to do it all the time. We're doing it all the time. What we see, what we think, what we feel, everything's going through our own perception. And what the Course is wanting you to do is to put it through like God's perception, Jesus's perception, like to the truth of what things really are. And this is what you practice throughout the day. Don't apply it. Don't do like every little molecule that you see. Don't go crazy doing it. Just don't exclude things, right? Here's the practice. Don't exclude things. One thing is like another as far as the application of the idea is concerned. And you just do it twice a day, right? The first 3 lessons, because, morning and evening. Don't do it for too long, because you're going to freak out. You're going to get mad. You're going to be like, this is BS. I have no idea what this book is talking about. This is a dumb lesson. I don't want to do this, right? So it says a comfortable sense of leisure is essential. So you just want to try it out, right? And this keeps going on and on and on. I see nothing as it is now. I see only the past. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. God didn't create a meaningless world, right? I see no neutral things. It's all about your mind. I don't know what anything is for. I don't perceive my own best interest. Now, how true is that? How true is that? Most of the time, we have no idea what we're doing. Why are we picking to do what we do? We don't know. Do we really know? You would have to be fairly self-aware, which right away makes you in the minority of people of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And nothing so simple as, well, I need a job to make money. Like, it's more than that. It goes deeper. These things go deeper. These are soul level things that are going on that affect our life, and we're just not aware of it. There's another way of looking at the world. I've invented the world I see. I could see peace instead of this. Now, don't we all want to see peace? Like, we would just prefer for things to be peaceful. I want to see peace. I don't want to see war and ugliness and fear, death. I want to see peace. My mind is part of God's. My holiness blesses the world. God goes with me wherever I go. God is my strength. God is my source. I am sustained by the love of God. I mean, all of these things are lovely. And so you want to start incorporating these. And that's just the beginning of the workbook. That's just like the first 50 lessons that you go through. And it just gets more and more intense. But what's really interesting is that, put this fan on me. What's really interesting is that as you go along in the process and you get further and further into the text and start understanding more of the concepts and the new meanings of the words, and you start getting to some of these, what is sin? I'm in need of nothing but the truth. It starts to make sense more and more. And you become more peaceful inside. And I think the thing that helped me the most is I just stopped taking everything so seriously. Even when I get snarky on Twitter, I'm like, oh, well, that was just like a momentary lapse in judgment, right? I mean, and I don't flagellate myself like I just committed the world's worst sin that I did that, right? I just don't take it as seriously. Even death, like when I die, okay, I'm dead. I don't fear that anymore. That's one of the things that the course really helped with, was just not even being afraid of death, because it's just like, it doesn't mean anything. Because if this body's here on this world and this is how we're perceiving things, and this body dies, the real me, like that, my soul is one with God. It's not going to go anywhere. God's not going to be like, I'm going to flick you out to some far part of the universe, to punish you. Like, I just don't see any of that. I don't feel any of that anymore. And it's just allowed me just to be just chill. Like, just chill out. Don't take everything so seriously. It's not about you. At least it's not only about you, right? There's a lot more going on than what we think. And nobody has to choose ACIM. Nobody has to choose the course as their spiritual practice. A lot of Christians would be like, there's no way that Jesus wrote that, and so on and so forth. And it does also actually talk about the Holy Spirit, which is interesting in and of itself. I don't know the Holy Spirit's curriculum. Truth is real in its own right, and to believe in truth, you don't have to do anything. Because truth is truth, right? The Holy Spirit's just a trip. I don't know if it says here the same curriculum. Let me see if it's got those little quotes in here. I'm not sure. I don't see. It must be in a different section. It's a big book, but anyhow. I recommend giving it a whirl. Dive into it. Even if you're, a Christian or whatever, it's not, unless you think that you're going to go to hell. Although I don't believe in hell, because I don't think God punishes people. We do our own punishing till we get to the point where we just forgive. And, Jesus isn't up there like holding a cudgel ready to beat me over the head because I got mad on Twitter. It's like, he's just not doing that. And if we believe that, then really we need to question our belief. If we believe that God is actually going to punish people, then we really need to rethink what we think God is. Because we have that expression that everybody uses, God is love. But love doesn't punish people. And anyways, if we're God's children, why would he punish us? We don't go around punishing our children. Hopefully, if we're not in our right mind, in our right soul, in our right heart, we might punish our children. And I mean punish like harsh, punishment. I don't mean like disciplining. I'm talking about punishment. So if we don't do that to our children, why would God do that to his children? Why would Jesus do that? If Jesus is our brother, right? If he's our elder, wisest brother who came to show us the way, why would he punish us? He loves us. Why would he punish us? It's silly to even think that. It's unimaginable that God would punish us. Another interesting read, just as an aside, is Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. It's also a similar kind of like scribed work. But there's one sentence that's always stuck out to me that is kind of like reinforcing the forgiveness that God has for us and that Jesus has for us, is that Hitler went to heaven. And immediately people are going to like freak out. What? He was a criminal and he was evil and blah, 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 blah. And we're all looking at it from this worldview that we have here. Like from this world's rules and laws and so on and so forth. But God's laws and rules, supersede whatever's going on here. And he was a child of God. And I know God forgave him. Why would he not? Because he was just out of his mind when he was here. He was not in his right mind. And yeah, he did terrible things here. But I bet he wept like a baby when God forgave him and showed him his true self. That he also is a child of God. So it can seem, the Course can seem really radical, that level of forgiveness. We just want to stay so enclosed in our own ways of thinking. We don't want to forgive. We want to be angry. We want to get revenge. Like we're walking around thinking that we're like, little individual, little mini gods in control of everything. And we want to be in control of everything. We want people to be the way we want them to be. We want them to treat them how we want them to treat it. It's all narcissistic. It's all about us. And the Course is like, it's not about you. You're a whole, right? You're a whole. You're a child of God. All of God's children are one. We don't need to be like that. And I think that when we're not so mean and not so intolerant and not so angry and not so, just beating ourselves down all the time, like you're a failure and you'll never amount to anything. Your parents don't love you. Your boss hates you. Life sucks. Who cares about this town? Who cares about this country? Who cares about this planet? I can throw trash on the ground. Nobody can tell me what to do. We get so into our own control mode. We didn't create ourselves. Like, we didn't just go, we're going to create humans out of the blue. It had to come from somewhere, right? Well, that somewhere is God, and he didn't create us to be the way we are. He wants us to be loving. But he's not going to interfere with our free will. But what free will do you want? How are you going to express your free will? Are you going to be destructive? Are you going to be an awful person? Are you going to be hateful and vicious and shallow? Like, really, that's how you want to be? Why? What do you get out of it? What pleasure? When you're cruel to somebody, do you actually feel good inside? Do you feel love? Like, oh, I love you, I'm going to hit you. I mean, like, just insane. And so what ends up happening when you study the Course is you come to see that a lot of this world is just insane. And we are insane while we're, like, trapped in this place. Like, trapped in our thought, in our perception. When we're not seeing the truth. Like, we're in our own darkness. And the thing we need to understand is that darkness can't exist when there's light shining on it. It goes away. If you're in a dark room and you turn on a flashlight, it's not dark anymore where you're shining that flashlight. So we need to shine a flashlight, the light of God, onto our own darkness and come to understand that we don't need to be in darkness. We need to be in the light. You'll feel better. You'll just feel better. You'll be happier. And you don't take things for granted. Like, you don't look at the tree and go, that's a stupid tree. You go, that's a lovely tree. I'm going to appreciate it. You know, you're going to love your spouse. You're going to enjoy your jobs. It's like, this is temporary. You know, you can make it better. Be nice to your boss. There's that expression, kill him with kindness, but I'm not saying like kill him with kindness, but love him in kindness. You know, maybe he'll turn around and be nicer to you. You never know. Don't make assumptions about how miracles work. And miracles come from God. They don't come from you. So, that's that's an overview of A Course in Miracles. It's well worth the read. That's my recommendation. At least give it a whirl. Be open to changing your mind, being a better person, being happier. Don't you want to be happy? Is that expression, you want to be happy or you want to be right? I'd rather just be happy, because it's not important if I'm right or not. I'd rather just really be happy. And having suffered from depression for 30 years of my life, I think it's like from 16 to maybe longer, maybe almost 40 years. That's a long time to be in a depressed state and try to live happy. We all want to live happy ever after. Well, it was kind of hard to do that while I was in my depression, but that's all gone. Yay. It can be done. It can be done. And I didn't really even have to do that much. That was all God. God was like, go forth and sin no more, my daughter. I heard those words clear as day. And the feeling of love, unconditional love, peaceful love, joyous love was not like anything here. Way, way more. It's like I was just a little candle, and then like the sun showed up in my room. It's like, woo, okay. But it was forgiveness. He's like, go forth and sin no more, my daughter. Plain as day. Just stop it. Just stop doing what you're doing. Stop being your own worst enemy. Be happy. It's fine. It's all fine. It's all good. And you trust in God, everything's fine. You'll be okay. And you're loved. So I will end that here. I will come back and probably go over, I think I'll go over the miracles first. What they are, and the principles. I'll go over those. I don't understand them all. Miracles transcend the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility away from the bodily level. That is why they heal. A miracle is a service. Yeah, there's 50 of these. That's where it starts, right? Yeah, a little introduction, and it just goes right straight into miracles. Very interesting. So, enjoy the day. I know this isn't like my usual content for my channel, but I swear, I was called to do it. I was trying to fall asleep, and it was like, go talk about the course on your website, on YouTube. I was like, okay. I'll do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll do it. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll talk about it. Uh, God has a really funny sense of humor. Anyhow, love you all. Enjoy the day. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the world. Try not to get too snarky on X or Twitter or wherever. Try. Just try a little bit. I'll try to. I know the election's driving everybody like, but hopefully it will fairly be over soon, and hopefully in a fair manner, and we can all just kind of like move on and do our thing. But it is important to try and stay peaceful as much as possible. Try not to hate people. I mean, sometimes I do. I want to feel like I just despise these people, right? That are like crazy. But then it's just like, remember, like, they're just not in their right mind. They're not in their right mind. And it's okay not to be in your right mind. It does happen to the best of us. It happens. We need to love them, forgive them, and pray that God will bring them out of the darkness and into the light. Because being out of your mind is being in the darkness. So, anyhow, like the video, share, subscribe to the channel. I do gaming, crafting, coloring, cross stitch, diamond painting, book reviews. It's like the multi-eclectic channel of channels on YouTube. And the algorithm's probably like, what is this channel about? And I don't care, because it's authentic and it's real. And that's all I can do, is be me. So, I will see you next time.